예전부터 이 생각을 좀 많이 했었는데 한국에서 프로게이머 할 때 우승하려고 프로게임을 하지 않았던 것 같아요. 그냥 약간 재미로. 그러니까 그 재미라는 게 그냥 이기고 열심히 하고 그런 것들이 굉장히 재밌어서 그래서 정말 높은 무대에서 좋은 성적을 거두는 거 그 느낌을 아직 모르잖아요. 한번 느껴보고 싶어요. 그리고 지금의 제 최근 중에 가장 좋은 기회인 것 같아요.
Welcome back to Game 3 of Immortals versus Counter Logic Gaming. We heard from Flame there having quite a while to think about working very hard in the game, actually since October of 2012 when he joined with Azubu Blaze. The guy has been in the scene for a while and has refined his skill quite a bit since.
Yeah, he's been a guy that people have looked up to for a long time in the top lane. And people remember those glory days of Flame. And he literally has something named after him in the game, Flame Horizon, which means being up 100 CS over your opponent.
Yep.
That's the type of domination that he has experienced. Right. And for him to be a big part of this Immortals team that's making a very good case to be the first, set of players for this squad in a finals, it just means so much.
Yeah, and the fact that he was talking about, it felt good to play for fun, but to play to win, to change a bit of his style where he was the selfish player. The Flame Horizon, the 100 CS up, came from catching side waves a whole bunch and swapping back and forth, which ended up being very selfish for the teams he was on. And he was touted as the best top laner. Now, he doesn't have that same spotlight, but he's really damn good. You see it in his mechanics, and now he's a team player.
Doing it very well. As we head into this picks and bans, well, already started. Immortals has chosen blue side as we head into this game 3.
Yeah, it looked like they wanted to first pick a mid laner, and the Cassiopeia was what they were going to put pressure on. Triple ban mid, put the Cassiopeia as a ban CLG have to go for, they pick it themselves. But now CLG, there are some things you can run into the Lucian, like people run the Vel'Koz, like Huhi might, the Corki as well, just for a range advantage against his 500 range.
Yeah, you always have to watch out for the mobility. And technically, even though everybody now associates Lucian 100% with the mid lane, you could flex it as well. I've seen it even recently. Sejuani, though, is going to be locked up here. This time around, OmarGod's going to take it away from Xmithie, even with the Gragas up. And he actually has multiple options, because we also talked about how important the Jarvan was for Immortals. Both Flame and Xmithie have had outstanding games on that champion as well.
So one of the times they have not locked in the Xayah Rakan combo, but they do, as you guys said, take away that Sejuani. Xmithie go for has quite a bit, doesn't have to show right away.
Yeah, but like Kobe was saying, Gragas jumps to mind. You also have the fact that the Jarvan is also on the table. The Kog'Maw, again, even with Tristana on the table in the last 2 games, it has not gone picked by either team here. It's been that kind of Cody Sun favorite of the Kog'Maw.
Why not? Yeah. I feel comfortable on it after this many games. We have seen that Jarvan getting banned out, or I should say in game 1, you see game 2 it got through, but not all the way. Possibly here, it is locked in. And this will be going to Flame.
Well, it actually gives them flex pick power coming into the second phase, which disrupts your phase 2 bans, where CLG will now have to most likely ban some top laners they don't want to deal with, but also potentially a jungler as well. I would think that Gnar would be one of the bans, but you can see there, Huhi, it looked like he was shaking his head. Don't want to play that into it. They may secure his pick here, or they wait for later. Looks like it'll be later.
And even with Immortals starting out, with the double AD carry, locking in the first phase here, Kog'Maw does a pretty significant amount of magic damage as well. Plus, Jarvan has built-in armor shred with his Q and can build into a black cleaver very quickly and shred armor that way. So even though they are facing, the early pick Sejuani and the beefy front line again, I feel like they have to be too worried, about that armor stacking.
And then some disruption here with the Alistar. Like you said, this has been something big for Olleh. Thresh still on the table, though, and that has gone unpicked or banned.
Yeah, that means that either the Morgana or the Tahm Kench, which previously CLG had been banning out as counters here to their Xayah Rakan combo, are both going to get through as well for Olleh to have some choices.
last ban from Immortals with 8 seconds. What do they decide to keep away from the hands of Counterlogic Gaming? Is it one last mid laner?
Could be the Jax.
It is the Jax. It seems to be what they've gone with on that last ban as of recently. And now one for Counterlogic Gaming, looking for a top laner, Darshan, unless he is going to be the counter. They know what they're looking at in the mid lane.
Again, though, they really do value keeping that Huhi pick till the very end here. Not letting the side lanes get any jump either.
There's the expected Gragas. Hovered in the first game, possible Bard here. It would definitely make that mobility game with Olleh and Xmithie early very easy.
Yeah, the TK that Kobe was talking about, that was banned away from them. Now they'll have that security for the Kog'Maw. So Immortals now have good disengage, have good engage, and then the pivot's kind of that middle lane. The mid lane has been so important, and it's going to be that Corki versus Lucian matchup I talked about that's pretty common when the Lucian is picked, because everything else really struggles against it.
Definitely true. Actually, I was just talking about to Jat earlier this morning, and there was a Yasuo picked into the Lucian in the LPL, but it was switched out of the lane, and I never got to see the rookie take over. This time around, though, CLG actually have their backs against the walls. This is 2-0 in the playoff series for Immortals, and it's now or never for Counterlogic Gaming.
And something for CLG this series has been Huhi has been playing fantastically. 1,000 damage per minute in game 1, more than Pobelter. Game 2, 1,500, more than anybody in the game with the artillery. This game, they give him the Corki, the consistency pick, and they have ways now with the package and the Shen ultimate to go back to the CLG roaming style to help the bottom lane out that has just been destroyed time and time again.
We talk about that consistency pick, Xayah Rakan. Xayah Rakan, continuously down there in that bot lane. So much mobility between these two, and they feel like it's the comfort they can bring to lane and that they can win it with. Hashtag CLG win, hashtag IMT win. Game point for Immortals as they look towards Boston.
All right, Pobelter and Xmithie versus their former team. Pobelter blind picks the Lucian. Looking to close it up here. See about the early jungle tracking as well. Xmithie now on the Gragas has that early playmaking ability, and him plus Olleh in the early game has just been outstanding. So they won't even have to wait for, you know, those late game Tahm Kench plays where he's post level 6 and using the Abyssal Voyage. They've been working in concert much earlier on in the game and have been such a big part of those early Immortals leads.
And I saw an interview with Olleh where he was talking about back when Dardoch was on the team, they both wanted to do different things than the team as a whole. And now Xmithie has kind of reined him in. Olleh was talking about how it was more of here's a puzzle piece here, here's a puzzle piece here, but was never able to look at the full picture until Xmithie came in and said, this is what the grand scheme of this play is, and this is why we do these types of things in the setup. So that jungle support synergy that we talk about a lot was something that was lacking in Immortals, but now it seems in full effect, especially early.
Much safer to make those one-off moves when you see the big picture. You're not walking into a tunneled position where your team's going to get taken down. And we've seen that a lot between Xmithie and Olleh. As soon as Olleh can leave, even if Cody Sun is buying a cull, he'll still leave the lane and head out. So they have some great synergy there. CLG trying to start things off early.
Tag.
Lay on the damage.
You're it. Darshan's able to find plan for a little bit of a lead in lane. See if he's able to get off some of that early bullying once again, because they also got a deep ward on the blue buff. So CLG, they can definitely infer that Xmithie is starting the classic Raptors into red. And with the bottom lane not showing and being so late, they'll probably also guess that it is one of those very strong pulls on the red. The super leashes, as they used to be called.
Yeah, and this ward will actually last until the blue buff is done if he goes straight there as his third camp. But this might be him looking to kind of upset that top side. But don't spot it.
Definitely true. That's where your eyes always are as a jungler. Which lanes are trading early on? The double melees there are usually the ones to go to. Darshan definitely trading super early on with the Shen. But again, he has that ward down. He placed it himself, and he'll know that Xmithie's on that side of the map. Meanwhile, on the bottom side,
aphromoo and Stixxay try to do that as well. Right before level 2 hits, they try and activate the Battle Dance in. get themselves a bit of a lead.
Both junglers top side of the map. Omar's gonna come out of the bush. Level 2 on Sejuani.
Flame
Stun.
looking to hold the flag and drag. Cannot get the damage out. Flame goes down, Flash as well as he'll teleport back to lane.
Omar able to have a very successful merger up here with Darshan, and the teleports are ready. One thing you have to worry about in top lane is if your wave is pushing, you immediately want to teleport back to it, but the junglers are still present. So they have to watch about repeat ganks.
And Sejuani hit that level 3 off of the minion wave, so he's not that level 2 still, has the Q now in the Arctic Assault. Could go back to farming after only doing 2 camps of his jungle.
Peekaboo. Will be able to harass a little bit. Great push by Pobelter, gives him control of this, and he just gets to place a ward right in the face of OmarGod. Huhi's so low right now as well, so he really can't help too much.
Yeah, I love how this game is really putting on display how much junglers work around the current state of their laners. And
what a fight.
It really is kind of a give and take relationship. Darshan getting the early information for Omar, kind of making that call for him to get up there as well, and really good capitalization this time around for CLG to start off a series almost going completely the opposite direction. They had to start this game off differently than the other two.
Yeah, and this is going to be such a strange jungle route as well now that they're focused into, because Pobelter, because he had priority mid, that allowed OmarGod to get pushed out, has to go to the bottom side, and Xmithie gets to take his Krugs as well as the Raptors that he smited away. And there's no counter here from Omar. You would typically see the enemy junglers say, all right, I checked it to the Gragas' CS, he didn't do Raptors, and you'd be able to take him away.
They do have a lot of camps over on Xmithie's side, but with a recall from Huhi, there's no protection, and OmarGod will have to be content with that Scuttle Crab. We'll get some vision down in the Xmithie red quadrant here. Seeing the Raptors. Bottom lane as well is a little bit exposed, but with all summoners available, it looks like they actually are in a decent position.
They haven't moved at all on that ward. I think they can predict it. Nothing's happened. Flashes up for both. Olleh eats. And it quickly just walks that one out nice and safe. I wouldn't say safe, but they're alive.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have to blow any summoners.
Yeah,
that is key for them. Tahm Kench going to try and heal back up as well.
Yeah, but what they lose here is OmarGod got chunked out by a Cody Sun, and now the wards are going to come down in his jungle from Xmithie. So they get bot side control deep for Immortals. Well, they'll have more information.
Also, now it's Xmithie who's actually behind the bottom lane there, coming from their own jungle. They do have wards, you know, in the river, as well as Scuttle Crab, but he has a Blast Cone to work with.
Looks like he'll take it just to take that Blast Cone, but he heads towards the top side. It's Huhi coming back to lane. Trying to push that one out, so he may get aggressive onto Pobelter. Xmithie waiting.
And Zyrene, just now, Omar is finding those camps that you're talking about, Xmithie counter jungling. He's discovered that he's been had, Huhi kind of roaming to the side of the lane as well that Omar is on. But this is the time in the game where it becomes hard for Omar to scrounge up experience. And he's having to work off just Scuttle Crabs.
Yeah, lucky for him though, the Scuttle Crab is an easy take, but hold on.
Very nice eat, hard skin over to Olleh, but he doesn't have any mana to finish this one off. He's got to be super careful. Flashes are there, and aphromoo goes forward, but he doesn't have Ignite. He's just trying to give Darshan an entry, and it forces the flash from Cody Sun over the wall.
Definitely a necessary double flash up there from the Immortals bottom lane. They burn all of their summoners in the exchange, but Darshan had just used his teleport.
Yeah.
So this means Flame on the top side gets to push into the turret and get some CS for himself. Very decent lead over Darshan he has.
And he may proxy the next wave just to try to push it out and make sure that he has, you know, a better back timer and he can come back with some items.
Rotation down to the bot side for OmarGod as Darshan finally gets a walk back towards the top side. Looks like he's going to be able to catch this second set of waves, only missing one, but still giving enough to Flame. So he can now rotate out of lane. Here comes more pressure from Xmithie and the rest of the team as Pobelter continuously keeps this mid lane pushed up on Huhi.
And we do talk about windows of pressure,
Yeah.
you know, in this game. Darshan doesn't have any way of joining, and Flame's teleport is going to come off of cooldown much earlier. So that will give Immortals an opportunity to try and create something on the other side of the map, especially considering how much extra gold Flame has over Darshan. If he gets to go back and purchase, it'll definitely be a very impactful teleport.
Yeah, he stuck around in that top side. Flame went for the honey fruit just to get mana back so he can continue to harass. And it looked like he had just come back from buying the Tiamat, so doesn't have too much gold stocked up just yet. But like you said, that purchase will come through, and then the TP will be huge because it's unanswerable.
He tags Huhi, able to focus on Pobelter with a few shots, but mainly just relegated to trying to get his minions. Has kept up, but hasn't been able to provide the Huhi pressure around the map that we usually see him giving. Few rotations with OmarGod that we saw from the past games. He has kind of just been stuck there in front of Pobelter.
Yeah, Pobelter's got the double Zoran's Blade by for extra pressure there with the Lucian. Flame gonna exchange a little bit of damage as he runs away from Darshan. They do see OmarGod on the control ward now as he passes by that top rush.
And this is Pobelter backing with low mana. This may actually be a dive if Huhi can get over here, or at least a blue buff take.
Yeah, they have package now, they might.
Question mark pings do go down on the mid lane there. They're wondering about Huhi's location. Looks like just that defense will be enough to scare off CLG from going for the dive. Xmithie's in tow here, but it would take a long time for Pobelter to get up there, and they're going to at least steal away this blue or attempt to.
Yeah, and Pobelter would lose minions to turret if he came over here, so lower variance plays just to pick up the 300 gold waiting for him and minions and keep this Lucian lead.
Even though this is looking a lot better in comparison to the last couple games.
Pushed out, dashed out.
Yeah, even though this is looking better for CLG in comparison to those first two, they by no means have a big hold on this game or any sort of lead, right? Immortals, look at the farm differences. These are more than making up for this first blood. A lot of control still within the lanes here for Immortals. And they are actually not feeling the pressure yet. Pobelter there, as you can see, gave a good amount of damage on the exchange, but Omar's still around mid lane.
Waiting for the E.
Oh, almost dead to rights on this
he followed!
Gonna try to get out, flash forward, a few last shots. Culling's gonna give him a bit, but not enough from the Cutlets to stay alive.
And the rest of the team has joined here. CLG bring 4 members to the mid lane, trying to pressure down for an objective afterwards, but Xmithie comes over. Good job clearing out the minion waves.
Yeah, fantastic W follow from OmarGod. The second part of the W does the most damage, and it has the slow on it, and he flash predicted to follow Pobelter.
Also, this does set up the more proactive plays that could come through from CLG with Stand United. They actually have Stand United during this play the whole time, but they hold on to their extra cooldowns for later in the game.
Pobelter was pretty amazed anybody was there with a vision ward just being below where both members of CLG were. So he felt like he was walking into a safe spot, but CLG's done a great job at threading themselves in between these wards and creating those opportunities.
And look how much the bottom lane is respecting the engagement of a Rakan with a post-level 6 Shen available to join the party.
It's just so much respect because we were talking about how this Shen and this Corki now affect the bottom lane, which has been the point that CLG has been losing a lot. So them having kind of an equal game here is better than the previous two. They are a bit ahead as well, which is what they hope for here, especially since this Lucian, you kind of bank on having an early lead with this champion. If that gets neutralized, his team fighting prowess relies a lot on playing against shorter range, being able to dodge out and have the mechanics, but against the Corki that can kind of delay the fight, poke out a bit, it is definitely favored towards the Corki more in these team fights.
Especially if he can get Huhi going. We even saw his Vel'Koz game 3-0-3 as they were getting pushed back. He was still able to put up those numbers, and Corki is a champion where if he can keep himself safe, he can easily carry these fights with the front line he has of OmarGod and Darshan.
Yeah, if CLG have that neutral position, the game is relatively even. Huhi has been doing a bit more with the gold that he gets in this series.
Another thing we're seeing here is CLG concentrating so much more on the jungle support synergy. You see, this is multiple times here where, again, aphromoo and OmarGod now actually invading together to try and keep those deep wards in this red quadrant. And it actually does allow them to go a lot more offensive, knowing that they do have the extra shield that could possibly come through.
Yeah, 2-on-2 in mid potentially here with OmarGod countering. Pobelter went forward, caught him.
Why not? Pobelter's taken each fight. Why wouldn't he take one with Xmithie on his back? CLG's very ready for it. Flame just on the side. Huhi's gonna jump out of this, so he holds for now on the ultimate. Good damage onto OmarGod. They are just sizing up CLG, not even having to hard commit. There's the commitment when they know they can finish the fight. Pobelter picking up more. Here comes Stixxay and aphromoo to try to save the day, but not enough challengers approach the fight. 3 down for CLG means they have to retreat. Oh, no, they don't get a chance to retreat. Xmithie with a double tank on the turret. Denies aggro as it goes back to the minions. And Immortals are pushing the limits a little bit now.
It's almost like clockwork. Immortals, 12.5 minutes into the game, another player around mid lane, and they say, yes, we see you on this ward, OmarGod.
Right.
You may have Shen, but we have Tahm Kench. The Abyssal Voyage does come through. The bottom lane comes first. Look at that ward right there. Omar is sitting on it the entire time. So even though Pobelter does get hit with the Sejuani ultimate, what a disengage there from Xmithie. Gets the Shen so far away that once Darshan comes in, he misses the taunt. He's just walking around there in the midfield, and Immortals with a very, very precise collapse.
It's a faster collapse. CLG did not disengage, and Flame was already on his way. He got there very quickly, almost matched the Stand United in terms of the roam timing, and was right on point for that. And something that's been happening in this game is the Alistar ban and the Tahm Kench pickup has made it so that the pressure of Olleh has not been that roaming and kind of placing wards near mid lane. It's not that same pressure. He's been under turret because of the Xayah and Rakan. This was where he got to get a little more active and had the Tahm Kench come through. So they were biding their time for these types of moments.
Great Abyssal Voyage as well to clear that river distance and get to the fight as soon as possible. Package now for Huhi. Got him.
Yeah, it's not even on the wave either, but
It really is just so impressive for this Immortals team. We keep talking about the journey that we've seen from this team, you know, over summer split and how quick it was, but the fact that every single member has had huge improvements. It wasn't just bringing in a new coach and bringing in Xmithie, you know, people talk about only changing 2 parts. The improvements in the coordination from Olleh, you know, from Flame, it just looks so clean from them that those are actually the types of plays that we've come to expect from this team and what got them to this place.
And you think back to spring, Cody Sun near the end started playing a bit better, but then came into summer and got that #2 All-Pro team spot. And the recognition with this, Xmithie.
He says, hello.
This turret is actually just gonna die.
Darshan not happy about the situation he was just put in. The rotation goes bot side, so CLG has chosen to put the fight on the other side of the map as they lose the top. Who's gonna get the better of it? Could be Olleh going down first. A great stun. They're going for the 1-2, being able to play off the ball. A kill coming in. The Retribution style for Cody Sun. And a Cathian surprise to clear out some minions.
But remember, they have Rift Herald on top side. This will be those 2 turrets going down and a little more.
Not only that, it's a power push from Immortals because Pobelter in the mid lane was still pushing. He never joined the bottom lane skirmish. They give that up and they get tenfold back.
Very interesting stuff from Immortals, planning more than one thing ahead of time. And even if something went wrong there, they get 1 or 2 opposed to what they lost.
It's that big picture, right? Olleh getting dove alongside Cody Sun, 4v2. They can force other parts of the map. He's gonna die. Sure, you may want to roam here to help and try to survive, but you end up getting more gold from these turrets. That's a 3-for-1 in turret trades.
There actually was a blue question mark that went down on Pobelter during the touch on bottom dive as well. But he was able to push up. They get plenty in back for it. CLG now are going to get back out onto the field first. So they claim the Cloud Drake. Definitely seems like a bit of the scraps, though, as Immortals very happy to have that early game gold lead once again in their hands. They have been able to utilize it fairly effectively so far.
Still have 3 minutes to that 20-minute mark. Game 1 was a 61 gold lead for Immortals. Game 2, a 6,000 gold lead for Immortals. And now CLG's been able to close that one ever so slightly here. As I said, they still got some time, and they could put themselves in the lead here with the confidence they've been showing.
It's still Immortals, though, with the consistent gold advantages on a team that has a Kog'Maw. So when this hits that mid-late game, the range disparity, the team fighting is typically favored in Immortals' side. And they can continue to force at that point.
And if you look at it, again, kind of hard mode has been to look at it from CLG's perspective to see what they can try and do to reverse this series. it would be a lot of eyes on aphromoo to start off these plays once again. If you think back to game number 1, the plays where CLG were getting back into the game, was a lot of his Rakan initiations and then follow-up from the rest of the squad. But again, with what we've seen so far, it just feels like Immortals really got a very similar stranglehold on this game. Everything focusing down bottom now. Looks like Huhi's going to have to come from base, but CLG setting up their defense.
I definitely agree with you, Kobe. Seeing a aphromoo go in with Darshan on a stand united, and then the safety of OmarGod behind him. Easier said than done, and CLG is looking for that opening right now. Darshan on the top side, pruning out the waves, keep things safe so they don't just get pushed in on all fronts, as the rest of the team holds strong on the bot side.
And when I'm talking about these gold advantages, Darshan, first item, Titanic Hydro. If he joins this fight, he's just going to get shredded. And look at this.
Xmithie, bad spot here. A nice hit, and they go instantly for Flame. That split push that could be happening gets taken out immediately. CLG may have some room to play with.
How much can CLG chase on this one? Immortals are trying to get the turret on their way out, but that might have delayed them a bit too long.
Darshan flash taunt. If he can get to that back line, he sees Cody Sun. Pobelter is in his face. What's his first target? And he's going to walk it in as far as he can go. Belly slammed right out of it. Xmithie stops Darshan in his tracks, but they do lose Olleh. It's still the very long chase here, and Darshan did a great job clearing out waves on the top side, so CLG has that room to play with now.
A little bit of room to breathe and just slow it down a bit. Take this Kog'Maw a little bit back and say, all right, let's make sure that we can scale and get that Corki to 2-3 items.
Now, Immortals are actually trying to keep them out on the field so that they can again push up the minions. They still actually want this outer turret.
Yeah.
It's very low, and they do have the Kog'Maw pushing in the minions, but it looks like CLG are only going to leave Stixxay there to deal with it. All right, aphromoos there. They got the backup.
So CLG holds off once again. A very scattered entry here from Immortals after knowing kind of where everybody was. It's not going to end. Another fight coming up. Pobelter gets caught in mid. Flames flash in the last fight. Pobelter's flash in this fight.
And what's going to happen here for CLG? They all just kind of came back from being out on the map. I don't feel like they get much except for Baron control.
Yeah, they're going to take whatever they can get at this point, though. CLG, picking up a couple of straggler kills right now is definitely necessary, and they're going to need to put some vision down afterwards. Oh, Flame!
Flame's been destroying. He is 60 CS up. He's got a very large gold advantage over Darshan. It's almost 2,000 at this point. And so this lane disparity has been a power point for Immortals.
They do need to refocus now, though, because, as we said, they've been giving away quite a few of these straggler kills, and they're... While not too worried, as you said, Darren, they're not getting big objectives losses afterwards. Still have to be very cautious about that.
Yeah, so far this has been CLG with those good picks, and then Immortals just having the better macro play and the better timing of the fight. But right now, if you continue to have those types of fights with less objectives for Immortals to really take like those outer and inner turrets, since there's only 2 left of those, now, you lose something like that, the Baron's on the table. It's much harder to start getting those thousands of gold advantages unless you have these fights.
The initiation coming from wards, not too far placed up here for CLG, so it's a lot of very, very dark play behind the turrets. Pobelter going down very low but lives. That's Olleh saving his life. He gets spit out immediately and is still the primary target. OmarGod not getting enough on. He lives through it with the calling. The turret still stands as CLG didn't have a target to hit. Darshan going down next, and Immortals once again.
They're gonna follow. Dance
it out. Abyssal Voyage coming through. Olleh's there. Thickskin immediately. Stixxay's his target, but Stixxay's going down after the Feather Storm. And that is exactly what happened as Immortals rain down on CLG.
The Tahm Kench comes up huge. I thought Pobelter had been deleted there by that aphromoo initiation, but it was not so. Olleh is there for the save. Olleh was there for the chase, and Immortals are gonna be there at the Baron 22 minutes in.
That's exactly what they need as well. With the advantages that they have, the side lane split push of the Jarvan and the Lucian that was about to get rubber banded back on ends up living here. This is what we gotta watch.
Keep your eyes on the Tahm Kench. He flashes into the knockup actually, but the knockup ends in time for him to get the Devour off. And then Pobelter escapes barely, even though Omar is able to follow. There's no damage on the Sejuani, and CLG find themselves too far past the turret.
And that was that heal from Cody Sun to help him out. The ultimate from Sejuani got devoured, and man, I was watching, how in the hell did he live? Because it was huge. The culling also coming up big after as well.
Right back onto Dragon. Look at the damage numbers across the board. Comparable in different spots, but both teams have those powerhouses, and they are going to be using them throughout the game. Right now, again, we look at Cody Sun. Continue finalizing these fights with even more safety from Olleh now.
And now it just feels like Immortals, when you think about them, it's not that one-star player. You have these team players. Olleh is kind of the closest you get here, but then everybody can step up at different times. Cody Sun in his second split, not showing nerves in his first playoff match. And then Flame, somebody who was a little washed up. But look at that.
Absolutely deleted. CLG is now hesitating and not regarding the pressure and power that Immortals can bring to the table. They're going straight past the turret, for in the base, looking to turn it to shambles. The calling comes through from Pobelter as they're able to enter from different lanes at the same time here. 23 minutes in.
Immortals looking to put their stamp on this game and this entire series. Baroned up with the extra kill here, taking down CLG inhibitors already.
They're looking for something. What did they got?
Yeah, they're staying as they're poking. They're looking for more damage. Stixxay low. Featherstorm, and he hits the ground and may go down. Xmithie looking for the body slam. aphromoo puts himself in between as the meat shield, and now they hold off. Another turret to fight under. Yes, please, says Immortals, as they continue to go for members of CLG.
Huhi's the next challenger, but Xmithie's happy to take on.
How many quarters do they have? Another one into the machine. Stixxay's trying his damnedest to stay alive. He doesn't even have time to go back to heal before he cleans out the minions. Flame very, very low as they have to start considering how long they can stay to give up the rest of the map. They have minions piling in on each side now.
Flame has just been doing a fantastic job this game. The CS advantage, the fact that he got ganked early and then Darshan's TP to the bot really got Flame ahead. You see highest KP on the team. He has been doing work. I'm loving these flag and drags in too.
How good this must feel for Pobelter. He was on the Immortal squad with Huhi, with Reignover, and the playoffs haunted him. But right now, they are owning the playoffs, making it their own.
And you think about the reconstruction and the fact that he's the only remaining member from that squad in 2016. But hold on. Another on aphro.
Very low. Throws out the shield. Heal for himself. Not going to be enough. And Flame and Xmithie are now the Bash brothers of this game. Soloing out Huhi. Now aphromoo. And they're going to be heading for the base. CLG having to put up a huge defense here.
CLG are just throwing themselves at Immortals, trying to have something stick, but all it's stuck is more gold into Immortals' pockets. 10,000 up, 25 minutes in.
And here come the super minions. Here come Immortals. Inhibitor number 2 about to go down.
13-8, 26 minutes in, and CLG not being able to put up too much of a defense. Huhi can't get too much bigger in this game unless they're able to get back outside their base, and they have been able to do so for the past 20 minutes. Immortals continuing to put on the pressure here and are looking fantastic while doing it. The ability to change their targets in these chaotic fights inside the base definitely proves very good for them moving on.
And it's been a domination in this series so far. A 3-0 for Immortals. When you think back to getting 3-0'd in their first split and having the postseason kind of blow up and lose to a much lower seeded team when they were number 1 back in 2016 spring. The organization is focused on postseason. That's what matters. That's what they're trying to win.
Pobelter getting himself in a very dangerous situation. Abyssal Voyage comes over. The teleport as well from Flame. Huhi gets deleted. 47 seconds on the timers for this one. Darshan's in a 2v1 as the fight goes down. Olleh chomps off OmarGod and spits him back out as the double kill comes in for Pobelter.
That's
They're
it.
going to be looking for the Nexus. Boom! Flame coming up huge. aphromoo going for the fountain all by himself. Immortals looking to rebuild ever since the first season. A few changes. More kills on the fountain now, coming in at 28 minutes as they finish off the Nexus turrets. And coming into the 2017 summer split, Immortals singing a different song. And Immortals are going to be heading to the first place match in Boston.
We started the year saying, who got the better trade? Immortals are going to the finals.
And they had fun the whole time doing it as well. They took their time, taking down that Nexus, finding their kills, but they also knew what they were doing the whole time, it seemed. What a strong performance. Hardly any hesitation here from this Immortal squad.
Great to see those smiles on their faces. The teamwork definitely on display today. Well-deserved victory here. Immortals 3-0, heading strong into the finals.
And a well-oiled machine. That teamwork you're talking about just keeps popping up for them. You think one member in a game is going to start dominating the series off of their Game 1 performance. Game 2, they drop the ball at all, somebody else picks it up. And in Game 3, it was Cody Sun and Flame. When before, we were looking at Xmithie, we were looking at Pobelter and Olleh. Overall, this team shows why they were tied for first at the end of the split.
CLG as well, trying to overcome a lot of tough things at the end of the split, having to change out and then kind of resync a new jungler going up against teams like Immortals.
XDG showing up.
Yeah, you gotta do. Support the team. Obviously, Immortals extremely happy about this. And Pobelter has been waiting as the mid laner of this team to get another chance at that trophy.
Tons of respect between these guys. A lot of ex-CLG members there. Definitely sharing the love.
And the first time since GGU in the first split will have a different team in the finals that isn't TSM.
What about two?
CLG or
TSM
C9.
Dignitas tomorrow, boys.
True.
So it could be very, very different. Immortal could find themselves facing off against either of those two, but I'm sure TSM and Dig are also prepping for one game, but also realizing they might have to play these guys. It's going to be pretty big. Immortals looking very good here towards the end of the split. And I think, as Irene and Kobe, you said it throughout it, it's not just one star player anymore for these guys. You can show up all over the map.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of a big issue for them in the first iteration where Huhi got a ton of the resources, and then when they hit playoffs and the meta shifted, the team looked a little bit out of sorts. But you see Noah on the stage, the owner, was incredibly happy, rubbing his hands together like, finally, they did it, they made the finals. That's what they've always been looking at, is having an elite team, and Immortals today have proved they are an elite team.
Yeah, I mean, the old roster seems like so long ago now, and that's just because this new roster has improved so quickly that we've kind of been dazzled with the story over this year. But yeah, definitely, as you guys are saying, well-deserved from them. You know, CLG were putting as much into it as they possibly could, but with their, it seemed like the mid-season change of junglers was just too much to recover from. You know, it wasn't something that they planned on, and you know, they're trying to build for the future, and now they don't have any other options because they're out.
Yeah, I believe they will have some championship points, though, to possibly go and move towards that regional qualifier. So they will have time to synergize a little more with OmarGod, get that teamwork back on track. But for Immortals, they're looking at, you know, that first place match, but CLG will be in Boston in the 3rd, 4th.
And it's great to see that it happened in a best of 5 as well. You think things can be tested very differently as a game extends, as you get that mental and psychological wear and tear, but they seem to hold out, weren't even pressured towards 5. And a lot of the players themselves credit Song coming in as the new coach, able to just bring cohesion to that team. And then you add on Xmithie and everybody else just bringing their play up another level, and it's been a great season for Immortals. Yeah,
I really enjoy the meta as well. It's been working so well for these players. You talk about the playmaking, and we were so excited this year when all the supports started changing away from the heals and shields.
Supports.
And that's what kind of leads the games that we saw in this series, right? The amount of action, especially in games 1 and 2, actually, was definitely on display.
All right, gentlemen. Well, to hear more about that series, we are going to send it to Avali, who has an interview with the victorious mid laner.
Thanks, guys. Great cast on the day. I am here with Pobelter. You did it. You 3-0'd. Let the applause rain in. You have definitely earned it. 3-0'd your previous organization, and I want to ask your Cassiopeia play. Oh my gosh, game 1, game 2, completely dominating the mid lane, especially when so many bans were focused around CLG's mid. What's your history with this champion, and why did you show it today?
Well, I haven't played much Cassiopeia before this split, but it just seems like a really strong pick right now because it has really good objective control, and also it's really good at killing mega tanks like, 8,000 HP Cho'Gath, just trying to mow down your team. And then I think the reason why I played so well was because I got 2 really favorable matchups, in lane at least. Victor can't really handle Cassiopeia that well in my experience, and Vel'Koz just gets really pushed around before he can get items. So I think because of that, I was able to have a really good performance.
You had an excellent performance, and I want to say you had someone helping you out. Olleh, so many roams into the mid lane. How do you coordinate these roams, and has he affected your playstyle?
Well, if I feel like we can get something done mid, I'll usually just call like, hey, can anyone come mid? I'll call everyone, I'll call Flame, I'll call Olleh, I'll call Jake, just anyone. And then actually, yeah, there was this one really crucial moment where I just all-in Victor by myself the first game, and then I kind of spaghettied, and I thought I had heal, but I had cleanse, and then I just burned both my sums, and I thought I was gonna die. And then Olleh was just suddenly there, he was like, Eugene, I'm here! And then he flash comboed, and then we got the kill and I got out. So yeah, I mean, Olleh just has really good intuition when it comes to things like that. And so, yeah, honestly, I guess it could be better coordinated. I could actually be like, hey, Olleh, let's come and do this, because I didn't even realize he was there, but I'm really thankful that he was there.
I love the team telepathy. You got everything under control. Now I want to ask, Immortals in the playoff or postseason has struggled just a little bit, but this year, what has changed?
Well, if we compare it to the Immortals from last year, it's totally different. I'm the only remaining member from last year, and so we have 4 different players, and then also a new coach. So it's not as if the curse stays with the org or anything. It was maybe just that specific set of players we had, with the coaching staff that made it so maybe we didn't perform that well. But this time around, it's really different. And actually, I was getting kind of nervous because we picked Lucian for game 3, and there's some history with that champion and IMT in playoffs, but luckily we were able to come out with the win. So I'm really thankful for that.
All right, well, you go to Boston, you're in the finals next week. Who do you think you're gonna play against?
It doesn't matter because we can beat both of them.
There you go, you heard it here. Immortals, he thinks he's gonna take it. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for talking with us, and we're gonna throw it all over to our friends at the desk.
Thank you very much, Avali. It doesn't matter because we'll beat either of them. I mean, after a 3-0 series here in the semifinals against CLG with the games getting progressively more dominant, I'd say Immortals should be moving into the finals next week in a very confident fashion.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen TSM yet, but at least this performance out of Immortals was dominating, like you said. First game, some jitters potentially. A lot of these guys, their first playoff together as a team, and then once they ironed those out, there was nothing it seemed like CLG could do.
Yeah, first picking the Lucian, very confident move in the final game. Huhi didn't actually have a good answer for it. They waited all the way to the last pick, and then you can argue whether or not Corki would be a good pick into that. Lucian's definitely a little favored in lane. So they did a great job just building their confidence and crushing CLG throughout the series.
It felt like they had a really good game plan overall. Just kind of isolate top lane into tanks as best you can, secure Pobelter a winning matchup, and then your bot and jungle are so superior to their counterparts that they'll eventually make plays to win you the game, and just make sure things don't get out of control before then.
Right, we'll go broad strokes in just a minute, but I do want to take a look at one more team fight here from our series today. 21-30 into the game. Immortals 5 for 1 in the mid lane here.
Yeah, and this is the one that decided the series. It looked like CLG had that good initiation, but Olleh keeps Pobelter alive, spits him out dashes, and then CLG at that point overchases when they may have already overchased. And it gets so much worse after the explosive cast comes through from Gragas. This was pretty much disaster because they still had a chance up until this fight.
Yeah, Olleh saves him at the start of the fight, and then they transport Kog'Maw to the backline to cut off the escape at the end of the fight.
Worse.
Getting them those last couple kills so they can grab that Baron.
Yep. I mean, just all around fantastic play out of Immortals with, some mistakes handed over on the side of CLG. As you said, it looked pretty good for CLG at first in that fight, but Pobelter getting away with just a little bit of life there at the end. The heal coming through from Cody Sun makes it a successful turnaround. And ultimately from there, they kind of just steamroll to the conclusion of the series. But here's where I want to pull back out again and talk about this 3-0. But in the context of the year, the journey that this roster has gone through from I Am Youngie, right, all the way back in fall of last year to spring split, 7th place finish, not even making it into the playoffs, And then finishing second regular season, getting their bye here, and going further now, officially further than the previous roster, the dominant 17-1 Huhi and Reignover roster of last year.
This is now the best Immortals roster ever. And the arc from Cody Sun being a rookie and Olleh being this guy who played in Brazil in the LMS to now us just easily saying like it's a write-off, oh yeah, they were the superior bottom lane, so they played around that, against aphromoo and Stixxay, who finished second at MSI a year and a half ago. That distance in time is a pretty crazy transformation.
I think it's the kind of thing where you just have to tip your cap to all the players and the coaching staff for working hard and improving, ironing out the problems that they had in Spring Split as best they could, and then once they found something that worked, riding with the momentum.
Right, I mean, you heard Pobelter talking about it there in the post-game interview, just this idea that, you know, everything on the team changed except for him. And so while, yes, we keep referring to a lot of the curses, the old Immortals, for them it is about establishing this new identity, right? That this roster, that this methodology and coaching and everything is going to be more successful, and that this is just the beginning of good and better things for this organization.
And what's important for them is that they're not done yet, right? Pobelter eyes towards finals. They still want to win North American LCS. They still don't have a spot at Worlds. Those have been their aspirations for a while. So they've come a long way, and this is just more confirmation that what they're doing is working.
Right. It's important to note that because of championship points, or rather the lack of getting any championship points in spring, demands that they either win finals here or compete through the gauntlet in the case of TSM, picking up more championship points. We'll get into that through the end of the day. We had a very bloody series between these two teams. We'd like to recognize one player who was crucial in finding that win for Immortals. So today's player of the series is being awarded to Olleh. I don't think this is going to surprise too many people in terms of the playmaking that he's able to pull through.
I mean, just on the Alistar pick, able to frontline so well, found so many good engages. And one of the most important things when you're frontlining is knowing when to get out. And there was almost never a time where he went down unnecessarily. And then when he did go down, it was because he was securing those last couple kills for his team. Great performance, had to get the Alistar ban off him, didn't miss a beat right onto the Tahm Kench.
Yeah, great performance by Pobelter as well. The Cassiopeia 2 games and the Lucian in the third. But Olleh, along with Xmithie, have been the facilitators for this team. And so many times Olleh makes those insane roam plays while still keeping control of Cody Sun and helping him out in that lane. So he adds more to the map than pretty much any other support in the league, and he did it again today.
I mean, Pobelter definitely the runner-up if you're looking for one here in this series, but across the board, everyone on Immortals to some degree played well. I mean, I know in game one we're looking at Xmithie as kind of a lackluster performance there, but
he stepped up.
Flame building CS leads even while being focused in terms of ganks. We had Cody Sun, Kog'Maw all 3 games, different build all 3 games.
Gotta mix it up, man.
And that's one of those things where, like, in the losing game, like, series, you build 3 different builds on Kog'Maw, people scratch their head, but every single time you could find some justification, whether it was due to his own team comp or what he was playing against.
Yeah, no, it was really exciting to watch, you know, kind of him figure it out, feel it out based on, you know, the state of the game, but also, you know, for him to be able to, again, in his rookie split, or rookie season, rather, I should say, being here on the playoff stage for the first time as they missed it in spring. We talk about OmarGod having to live up to some expectation. This is another guy who hadn't played in the best of 5 series in the postseason yet, and he does it with, you know, pretty, again, dominant fashion.
Yeah, and this team's mindset is in the right place, I think. They have a certain swagger about them at this point. Xmithie is very confident, and I feel like that confidence has transferred to the rest of the team. After the game 1, 2, or 3 win, they were never even super ecstatic because they expected to win. So they just took care of business today, and it's been a very confident team.
All right, well, with their win today, Immortals will be attending the finals at the TD Garden. You can still catch CLG in Boston for that 3rd place match on Saturday, but the matter of who they are facing comes down to our match tomorrow, TSM versus Dignitas. So let's take a second to preview that matchup tomorrow, our 1 seed versus our 5 seed. But Dignitas taking down Cloud9 just a week ago are looking strong.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to have a very set play style on how they want to move around the game. You saw in some interviews with Someday and Shrimp, they're saying the coaching staff has a large influence on how they want to play the game. Very clear objective focus, probably the best team in the league right now around Baron. And then against a team like TSM, not particularly fast, that means that you have more opportunities around those objectives. So you could see Dignitas making this a pretty close series.
I mean, Adrian had strong words in his you know, post-series interview around the fact that they're confident going up against TSM, not only the team as a whole, but the bot lane duo.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the bottom lane versus the bottom lane. Doublelift Biofrost versus Alltech and Adrian, who are kind of a new powerhouse. We keep talking about these duo lanes showing up, but we're in a very carry-focused meta.
Yeah.
The mid lane and AD carry are very pivotal as far as these games go, and a lot of times the top laners end up just kind of splitting farms. So Someday versus Hanser, there are ways that can tilt. We have seen in other regions top laners still being able to carry.
Right.
But the default has seemed to be the carry position. So
right. Well, I mean, they're still
Dignitas
picking Jace in Korea, and we're not picking it over here. So
we tried the Jax.
To be
we tried the Jax.
We did try the Jax to no avail. But yeah, but very much that mid lane matchup, as you speak about it, we heard from Pobelter, Cassiopeia being a very important pick throughout this series here today in that League of Tanks when there are front lines to shred. Whose hands is that going to fall into, or do these teams find a different way to work around that tomorrow? That's for us to find out, though, when the series arrives. Now, as the games in the semifinals continue to deliver, make sure you're making your plans to join us in Boston. Tickets to our finals weekend at the TD Garden are still available, and the teams need you there to bring the noise for Saturday and Sunday's matches. Hit us up at LOL Esports to join us for the as we crown the summer champions. That's going to do it for us here. So on behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Immortals versus Counter Logic Gaming.
Your semifinals start right now.
Last few hits, last Fang. Oh, he gets away. He's gonna be able to take down Pobelter. What a shot, and Pobelter lives. Not even close, baby. If they're relentless, they will get through this. And Darshan picks up that kill. Stixxay then gets Olleh, and CLG find the fight they're looking for. Stixxay looking for the dance, gets himself back to safety. Right hit from Flame, locks up the team, and now Immortals can do whatever they want with the rest of the members. Stixxay over the wall, no mana there. Immortals turning this around as Cody Sun hits shots left and right. Pobelter cleaning up the fight.
I got him. Nope, no ulti, no flash. I got him.
Let's go, guys!
Good job.
Nice.
Nice.
They are almost able to deliver back onto Olleh. There's the hit from Huhi. Pobelter goes down immediately. Cody Sun still alive on the back line, though, watching for the shots. And the Hurricane is able to deliver on the side as well.
Cody ult. Follow, I burst.
Go.
Corki. Slow. I can kill him. They got the Baron. Kill him, better. Just nice.
Darshan's in a 2v1 as the fight goes down. Olleh chomps up OmarGod and spits him back out as the double kill comes in for Pobelter. They're going to be looking for the Nexus, and Immortals are going to be heading to the first place match in Boston.